everyone, and welcome to another episode of Out of Thin Air, the podcast where we explore bold ideas around IoT and smart manufacturing with industry experts and leaders. So today I'm honored to have Kevin Claxon, Managing Director of Manufacturing Advisory Services at Aprio. Kevin brings a wealth of expertise in guiding manufacturers toward operational excellence through innovative strategies and Industry 4.0 solutions. His work focuses on helping businesses navigate complex challenges while achieving efficiency and growth. Kevin, thank you so much for being here. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, same here. Thank you so much for having me.
To start things off, why don't you tell us a little bit about Aprio and your role within the company?
Absolutely. So Aprio is a top 25 CPA-led advisory firm. We focus predominantly in serving the middle market clients. That's usually a very good area for us to focus on gaining a lot of value with our clients. They're many times looking to grow. And we have at Aprio a full suite of services and capabilities, anything between, my practice, which focuses on manufacturing and distribution, but also a great technology advisory practice. Obviously, tax and audit work is a prime area that we focus, but it's actually really great to have all of these services under one house so that we can provide kind of a one-stop shop of services for all of our clients.
Looking forward to learning more about what Aprio does in this conversation. So Aprio's focus is on advisory services. So that gives you a unique perspective on the challenges manufacturers face. From your vantage point, what major trends in Industry 4.0, smart manufacturing, are you seeing sort of in the next 5 years?
Yeah, it's really tip of the spear right now. There's a lot of interest. There's a lot of discussion going on with our client base. So to me, the biggest trends really shaping manufacturing right now are those AI driven automations, those advanced IoT enabled analytics, and really the shift towards smart connected supply chains. We see AI machine learning enhancing everything from quality to demand forecasting. And IoT sensors provide real time visibility into operations and at much lower cost point than ever before. So companies are really embracing these technologies now, and we're gaining serious competitive edge, especially when it comes to efficiency, cost reductions, and agility.
Manufacturing leaders often hear about Industry 4.0, but they sometimes struggle to connect this to their specific operations. How do you help businesses translate these trends that you're talking about into actionable strategies that drive results for them?
Yeah, great question. And we get this topic often, and you're starting to see the introduction of Industry 5.0, which really the only significant difference is the addition of human interactions with the technologies. But so Industry 4.0 is still highly relevant, is still a primary focus of ours as we continue to adopt those Industry 5.0 standards. But again, Aprio focusing on the middle market manufacturers and distributors, and really especially the middle market, the lower middle market, that is more in that 10 to $250 million in revenue. And they're often privately held, many times family owned, and that comes with mostly limited experience with new technologies and a lot of hesitation, especially with Industry 4.0 strategies. So for us at Aprio, it starts with understanding their specific pain points. Industry 4.0 isn't a one size fits all approach. It has to align with companies' business objectives and strategies. So we take a very practical phase based approach. So we identify the biggest areas of impact, implement small scale pilots with clear KPIs, and then scale proven solutions from that. So the key is balancing innovation with real business needs so that the transformation delivers tangible ROI.
Okay, and you mentioned working with sort of family-owned, smaller size manufacturers. What are the most common operational challenges they bring to you, and how do you help them overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I mean, there are many, right? In the middle market, it's usually clients that are very forward looking, but just don't know how to get there, right? So a lot of manufacturers that we deal with struggle with inefficiencies, just general inefficiencies that could be through unplanned downtime or supply chain bottlenecks, or a lot of what we heard in the last few years is labor constraints. Finding talent, especially skilled labor, we're starting to see that alleviate a little bit more. but it's still a challenge in areas of opportunity for automation and other technologies. So the Aprio Thin Air partnership is a game changer in my experience because it really enables that real time operational insights through IoT and data analytics that typically never existed or took a lot of resources to capture. So with this data, we help clients move from a reactive to a predictive decision making process. So inevitably improving uptime, quality, and overall throughput.
That's amazing. And I'm sure you're creating a lot of change and helping a lot of digital transformation happen in these areas for them. So, how does Aprio work at the intersection of business strategy and operations? I guess we could talk a little bit more about that. How do you help these manufacturers align their long term goals with kind of the practical realities of implementing a big digital transformation initiative?
Many clients, digital transformation is foreign. It's scary, right? It can feel overwhelming in a lot of cases, especially in the middle market. So we focus on breaking it down into manageable steps. We start with clear strategy. What are the top business goals? Where will digital initiatives drive the most value? Then we use IoT sensor data and analytics to identify quick wins that prove the ROI really early and create momentum for broader transformation.
That's great. And I guess switching a little bit more into how this long term strategy can scale. So, scaling Industry 4.0 initiatives from pilot programs to enterprise wide adoption is a hurdle that many manufacturers face. What advice would you give to leaders looking to scale their efforts effectively?
Yeah, scaling successfully comes down to three things, in my opinion. So it's a clear roadmap, leadership buy-in, and cross-functional alignment. Too often we see that pilots stall because they weren't designed with enterprise-wide adoption in mind. So, scaling. So we start small, but we always think about scalability. It's always a focal point for us. So we build repeatable processes and ensure alignment between IT, operations, and leadership from the start.
And so, speaking about these pilot programs, can you share a success story where you helped a manufacturer scale their digital transformation?
Yeah. So we worked recently with a mid-sized manufacturer that was struggling with excessive machine downtime. Equipment was a little bit more aged. It lacked connectability, so they couldn't really pull any kind of real data from their equipment. And they realized it would be a massive effort from resources to really track those manually. So by implementing Thin Air's IoT sensors, we helped them reduce downtime by roughly 30% in about 6 months. So the key success factors there were executive commitment, clear ROI targets, and a step-by-step rollout that allowed them to scale without disrupting operations.
Wow, that's amazing. So, when you talk about ROI and when it comes to ROI, manufacturers can sometimes be hesitant to invest in newer technologies. How do you guide them and sort of do the hand-holding, convincing them, and balancing the short-term gains and long-term gains, and just helping them see the strategic value in ROI?
We help them focus on use cases that deliver immediate ROI while laying out the foundation for long-term transformation. So a great example is machine utilization, right? I use that in my last use case, right? Downtime, unplanned downtime. Companies see quick cost savings while also building a data-driven culture that supports broader digital initiatives. So again, that middle market, these initiatives are usually foreign to them. They want to do that, but they don't really know how. So it's about securing early wins that create momentum for the bigger picture.
That's great. And in your experience, how or what role does the C-suite and leadership play in the success or failure, I guess, of Industry 4.0 initiatives? How do you work with leaderships? How do you get team buy-in? How do you make sure everyone's fully engaged with these projects?
I mean, leadership is everything. Digital transformation isn't just a technology shift; it's a real cultural shift. And in our practice, we focus a lot on Lean Six Sigma operational excellence methodologies, and culture is a big part of that. And digital initiatives really just play into that, and aligns nicely to the sort of methodologies that we look to implement at our clients. So if leadership isn't engaged, initiatives stall, fail. So we work closely with executives to ensure they understand the true business impact, that they can champion the vision and drive alignment across the teams.
And let's talk about some other teams and other departments that might be involved, other stakeholders. Talk about the collaboration that needs to occur between or across IT and OT and leadership. So, kind of those three segments: IT, OT, leadership. What strategies have you found most effective in breaking down silos and fostering collaboration between them?
Yeah, cross-functional collaboration starts with really clear communication and shared goals. We often bring in IT, operations, leadership, and many times finance and accounting. Especially when we're focused heavily on ROI. We'll bring them together many times into workshops to align on priorities and build a common vision. Really, when everyone understands how digital initiatives impact their role and the business as a whole, adoption and success rates go way up.
So, as you look into the future of manufacturing advisory services, what excites you the most?
The pace of innovation is incredible. AI, IoT, digital twins, they're all transforming manufacturing in ways we've never seen before. And what excites me the most is helping companies harness these technologies in a way that's practical and results driven and turning big ideas into real world impact.
And are there any emerging trends or approaches that you're particularly interested in? Any buzzwords that you hear coming up?
I mean, AI is so popular right now. It's hard to talk about really anything else. And again, it's still gaining maturity in the industry. So we really focus on anything that involves digital enhancements. So no particular buzzwords, but what I would say is when we're focused on efficiencies, we take a broad-based approach to understanding what's available to our clients. There's many different considerations, many times budget constraints, availability of key resources. So we go in and keep a very open mind in what can really drive value. So we work very closely in understanding those key constraints with each of our clients.
Okay, great. And maybe can you talk a little bit about, I guess, on the operations side, what are some ways that manufacturers can gain further insight into their operations? Is there anything that you're doing in particular to help with that? Any tools or services that you have?
Yeah, one of our great services right now is what we call an operations health check. And this is essentially a fast paced understanding of your current state. And when we have a better understanding of your current state, we can then help provide industry best practices, expert guidance on really the key initiatives that should be understood to most drive value back into your business. So operations health check is usually a great starting initiative for many clients of any size that give them a clear understanding of where they are today and kind of the possibilities while implementing improvements with industry best practices.
And I guess on average, what would you say the timeline is for these projects, this operational health check? What is the timeline for something like that?
Yeah, it's very fast paced. So typically within our clients, depending on the size and the scope of what they're really wanting to look at, it could take anywhere from usually about a week or two on site. So we're actually at the production site. We're actually observing any of the processes or activities that are occurring. We may be placing those IoT sensors to get real time data that accelerates our ability to get to some of those insights. And so a week or two, depending on the size of the client, and then another week or so to allow for data analysis, insight gathering, and building what that future potential could look like.
Oh, that sounds really interesting and efficient to do it in such a short time.
ThinAir's IoT technology has really supported our ability to get to those insights faster. I mean, many times before, and what companies may still be doing is using several resources to either track things with pen and paper and try to put it into like an Excel document. Whereas with ThinAir, you place the sensors, it captures the data, it puts it into the cloud environment, and it easily drives a better understanding in much shorter time than we've ever been able to achieve before with even less resources. So it's been, again, a game changer when it comes to supporting our clients.
That's great to hear. And speaking of, I guess, analog ways of doing things, what are some other ways that you've helped current manufacturers kind of merge their systems, their existing ERPs with maybe what's new out there and newer technologies.
Yeah, we commonly struggle with clients that may have limited data or just completely lack of real data. So a key part in understanding and what we call setting a baseline, right? So a key concept within Lean and Six Sigma is having a statistically significant representation of the process. And from that, we then can apply several changes or improvements and measure against that baseline to ensure that we're getting the success that we expected to get. Change isn't perfect. And sometimes the changes that you implement can actually have a negative impact to the process. And without that baseline, you really don't know what direction you're going. It could be positive, it could be negative. So we focus entirely on setting that baseline. But many times, clients lack the technologies, especially in ERP. So what's really great about Aprio is we have a full suite of services and capabilities within Aprio. So our technology advisory team focuses entirely on ERP implementation, re-implementation, and data analytics. So all the way to predictive analytics have capabilities and even machine learning capabilities. So we see a lot of clients that are starting to realize that they're behind the times in some of their technologies, and they're reaching out to understand what's available to us, what's in the marketplace, what's the right ERP or other particular technologies that can enable us to be successful and grow.
Yeah, I can see how that would be really valuable and transformative to someone going from, a clipboard to, getting to use an iPad and just being more digitally involved with their business. So that's great. Finally, as you continue to work at Aprio and looking ahead, where do you see yourself focusing your efforts in the years ahead?
Yeah, I mean, my focus is really about helping mid-market manufacturers accelerate digital adoption. I mean, many of them know Industry 4.0 is critical, but really struggle with where to start. So by simplifying that path to transformation and ensuring it drives measurable results, we can help them thrive in an increasingly digital world.
And I guess looking to the future still, what impact are you hoping that you can make or Aprio can make in the manufacturing industry? If you had a magic wand, what would you hope to see in the future?
I would hope to see more data availability to drive faster decision making, and a clear path to success with any strategic objective. Again, many times when we go into our clients, the biggest constraint is the lack of data, and sometimes that's quality data, sometimes it's just the complete lack of data. So I really want to start to see clients adopting these digital transformations to be able to get to those insights much faster and feel more confident when they're implementing changes, that they're moving in the right direction.
That sounds like a good future, a bright future for us. So, Kevin, any final thoughts that you'd like to leave our audience with?
I would say stay open minded. It can be overwhelming. It can be a little scary. There's some hesitation in the industry, especially the middle market manufacturers. But if you stay open minded, you take the time to really understand and invest in these technologies, I'm confident that most clients will see those benefits outweigh any of the potential cons that could come up in those conversations. So just stay open minded.
So, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. We've reached the end of our time together. Thank you so much for sharing your insights.
Yeah, thank you so much, Beverly.
I know our audience will take away a lot from what you've said and just gain a lot of value. So, for everyone listening, if you are ready to explore your digital transformation journey, you can log on to thinair.io and even learn more about the Aprio Thin Air partnership and ways that we can help you start your digital transformation journey. And as always, don't forget to subscribe for more episodes as we explore the latest trends and strategies in IoT and smart manufacturing. So until next time, keep innovating and we'll see you soon.